There is no tomorrow for the Houston Rockets. Well, okay, tomorrow the Rockets play the Lakers here in LA, but metaphorically, Houston is a team whose championship window is very much right now. James Harden is 30, Russell Westbrook, 31. The two of them will be eating up about 70% of the Rockets' cap space for the next 4 years. Oh, and also the Rockets have either already traded their pick or traded swap rights in 5 of the next 7 drafts. So really, no tomorrow. So it wasn't a surprise to see GM Daryl Morey, his team sitting in 6th in the West, so absolutely determined this week to deal Clint Capela, the Rockets' last real movable asset. There would be no better time to tinker down the road because for Houston, there really isn't a down the road, which meant Morey needed to create something. And boy, did it turn out to be a humdinger. A 4-team, 12-player swap that is already the league's biggest 4-team trade in 20 years and still has room to add a player or two. For Houston, the headline is that Capela is off to Atlanta, Robert Covington is on the way in from Minnesota, and the team that won championships with Hakeem Olajuwon is now officially the epicenter of small ball and in the hands of the coach who first created it, no less. Basically, Houston is seeding that when they play teams like the Lakers or the Nuggets or the Jazz, players like Anthony Davis or Nikola Jokic or Rudy Gobert are going to have the advantage anyway. So let them dunk their dunks, let them rebound away. Meanwhile, what the Rockets intend to happen is that they could win with pace and all those threes, a strategy Covington fits right into. With a 7'2" wingspan, Covington is a true 3-and-D who can help check the West's elite wings and offensively doesn't need the ball in his hands, which is good because, well, may I direct you to Harden, James, and Westbrook, Russ. Of course, it's a bummer for Rockets fans to say goodbye to Clint, who they've raised since he was a rookie and who was once such a beautiful partner to Harden on all those pick and rolls. But the Rockets have greatly reduced that as a part of their game plan in recent seasons, making Capela less valuable to them and more valuable to Atlanta, who will now ratchet the pick and roll up with Capela and Trae Young. So now the question is, will what Houston is doing actually work? They will have a good test, yes, tomorrow in that Lakers game, and in a game against the Jazz this weekend. Either way, at this point, there's no going back, which is fine because the Rockets wouldn't have had time for that anyway. All right, guys, do you think this was a good deal? Kendrick, do you think that Houston got better off of this?
Well, you know what, Rachel? I don't think it was a great deal, but I don't think it was a bad deal. I think when you look at this Rockets team, they were already terrible defensively. Like, you know, Clint, I love Clint, but he had a history of disappearing in the playoffs anyway, and they were already struggling defensively. So, in my opinion, what they did was they said, okay, well, what we go do is we go spread the court. We go put basically 5 guards and wing players out on the court. We go stretch your bigs out. And what you have Russell Westbrook and James Harden, two of the best scorers in today's league, especially when you're talking about creating their own shots and beating guys to the basket. So now you're taking that defensive center out to the perimeter and the lane is wide open, and this is going to be nothing but Swiss cheese because guess what? They're going to be getting down the lane, getting wide open layups and getting bucket after buckets, and they're already number 1 in pace. And adding Covington, that takes him over the top because he's a knockdown three-point shooter and he's an underrated defender.
You know, I'm sure they wouldn't have done this without James Harden's A-OK, and as Perk just said, it's going to be potentially good for Harden. I don't know if they checked with P.J. Tucker, who's already really worn down and is going to get worn down more.
Right.
But one thing that happened in this trade that I don't think anybody's looking at, and the caveat is we still have 24 hours or 23 hours till the deadline so they can do something else, but the Rockets for the second straight year used assets at the deadline to get under the luxury tax. They traded a first-round pick and Capela, and they got back Covington and tax savings, okay? And the thing about this is you have James Harden in their prime, and for the second consecutive year, you know, they didn't use their mid-level last year, second consecutive year, and you know they are making a financial move at the deadline. Now, they may make another addition in the next 23 hours, and I leave the wiggle room to amend my comment, but 2 consecutive years now, they have used first-round draft picks and other assets to do that, and I just question that decision with James Harden in his prime. As you mentioned, they don't have much else to trade here. So in terms of swapping out Capela, I'm okay with it. In terms of Covington, I understand what they're trying to do. I just question the decision making with the money spending when you've got Westbrook heading towards the back of his prime and Harden in it.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.